Welcome to viewers from Neepawa area and all across Canada. This is NACTV Reads the News. My name is Catherine Jasnick, and today I am reading the Neepawa Banner dated January the 20th, 2017. And at the beginning of the page, at the very front, we have the title Roof Collapses in Kelwood. And it shows a big picture of a roof collapsed, and it says the centerpiece of the community of Kelwood has been severely damaged. On Saturday, January the 14th, the roof of the Kelwood skating rink caved in. No one was injured, and an excess amount of recent snow may have caused a domino effect on the roof. And we'll see additional pictures on page 9. And on page 9, on the right-hand side, it shows more photos of the roof falling in. The top picture is a view of the collapsed roof from one end of the Kelwood skating rink floor. And above left is the exterior view of the fallen structure. And above right, the front entrance of the rink, which remains intact, which was very unfortunate, but there certainly is a pile of snow this year. A special salute to Stu Brees. Political contemporaries and longtime friends gathered in Neepawa on Monday, January 16, to offer a special send-off to former Agassiz MLA Stu Brees. In 2014, Brees announced he would not seek re-election for the position he had filled for nearly a decade. That position would ultimately be filled by Eileen Clark, who won the riding in the 2016 provincial election. On Monday afternoon at the Royal Canadian Legion Hall, Clark, along with Premier Brian Pallister, MP Robert Sopuck, several MLAs, as well as many other well-wishers, saluted Brees. During the gathering, Brees said he was surprised by the number of people who took the time to come out and wish him well. He added that he was very proud of being allowed to serve the constituency. I never forgot that I worked for my constituents. It was their faith in me that put me in that position, and I was going to do what I could to serve them and to put their best interests forward, above all else, noted Brees. If you called my office with a concern or a question, I'd make it a point to call them back myself and speak with them, either to answer their question or listen to what they had to say. That's what the job should always be about, looking out for the people who put you there. Premier Brian Pallister saluted Brees for dedicating himself for so long to service of the region. Stu Brees has always been a salt-of-the-earth person, sincere, honest, dedicated, a hard-working human being. He is a community guy. Everyone already knows that within the Agassiz riding, but it's important to recognize it, said Pallister. We've seen Stu give of himself through his community work, his municipal and provincial service over many, many years. That's something we should never take for granted. But even more than that, he went out and did a lot of outreach on conservation issues, infrastructure issues, healthcare. He was doing work in his riding, but was not isolated in his thinking. He understood that we are all in this together. Pallister also noted that Brees served as a mentor to many candidates and new MLAs over the years, providing valuable knowledge. Certainly, he was a mentor in helping to guide and lead our candidates in other ridings. That was a very big boost to people such as MLA Brad Michalski in Dauphin and Derek Johnson in the Interlake, Rick Wochuk in Swan River. Brees was instrumental in helping them. I know that they appreciated that support deeply, and they told him exactly that during the salute. With Pallister's remarks still imprinted on the assembled well-wishers' minds, Brees joked that he was not much of a public speaker, preferring to be more of a behind-the-scenes guy. Instead, he chooses to shine the spotlight upon all those others who worked with him behind the scenes over the years to make Agassiz and Manitoba a better place. A very fitting tribute for a man who cared little about securing his own legacy, yet left with a lasting one upon the region and the province. And we have a photo of Premier Brian Pallister shaking hands with Stu Breese after commending him for many years of support for both the riding and the province. Pallister was one of many in attendance at the Neepawa Legion branch on Monday, January the 16th, for the special send-off for the former Agassiz MLA. And we all wish him well. Neepawa businesses awaiting return of dumpsters. And it shows 2 photos of bags of garbage piled up in the back alley behind the Neepawa Fire Hall and the Roxy Theater on Tuesday. A short turnaround in the change of garbage contractors is being blamed for the unsightly piles of commercial garbage collecting around Neepawa this month. Without curbside pickup, most of the town's commercial properties depend on communal dumpsters located in central locations around town to dispose of their garbage. However, businesses have been without dumpsters since the beginning of January. When the garbage collection contract with TAC Ventures ended on December 31st, 2016, the dumpsters provided by that company were taken away. The new collection contract with MWM Environmental began on January 1st, but the town's manager of operations, Denise Aket, explains, unfortunately, due to the fast turnaround of the contract, our new collector is only able to start collecting commercial bins February the 1st. Saket said that the town of Neepawa is planning to reinstall the commercial bins in their previous locations. The town of Neepawa is still committed to collecting commercial garbage, he said, adding, Municipal Waste Management has assured the town that they have 50 brand new bins on their way and plan to have those here on the 1st. The only bin that won't be replaced is the one in the Shop Easy parking lot, which is now being handled privately. Until the new bins arrive, users are being told to place their bags of garbage and recycling at the former bin locations. In some spots, this is creating large piles of garbage. The location behind the Roxy Theater, for example, is used by the 55 residential units of Yellowhead Manor, the 6 residential units in the Kerr block, just west of the Roxy, and all of the businesses in that area. Unlike residential pickup, where garbage is kept inside and then brought to the curb on pickup days, the commercial garbage accumulates outside until the designated pickup day, raising concerns. It's just a matter of time until rodents get in, said Keith Porter, owner of M&K Cleaning and the caretaker of both Yellowhead Manor and the Kerr block. Businesses are charged a levy for their garbage service, and Saket explains that this fee covers collection costs and tipping fees at the landfill. He added that the communal bins are provided by the town at these locations as a means of convenience, rodent control, and an effort to keep the area cleaner. Traditional bag pickup at each location was becoming too much of an issue, he explained. And just a little sidebar here, Fan Appreciation Day at Dairy Queen on Wednesday, January the 25th, and you get half off. And with the warmer weather, I'm sure it'll be a very busy place. Book your winter escape at the library. Neepawa Library has several new reissues of classic Archie comics bound into hardcovers. All the usual hijinks and girl troubles are back for your enjoyment, and it shows a picture of the bound comics. Well, a new year is here, and winter has us dreaming of getting away to warmer places. But if you don't have plans to renew your passport and board a plane, we can help you travel to somewhere new and still be entertained without leaving your cozy reading chair. In Phaedra Patrick's The Curious Charms of Arthur Pepper, we travel to India, Paris and London to learn more about Arthur's beloved wife and how he also learns more about himself in the bargain. Or maybe you'd like to visit somewhere closer, like Florida. Join Janet Ivanovich with her wild ride, Metro Girl, where January is much hotter in Miami. Fast cars, fast boats, and dastardly deeds keep you turning the pages and thinking of warm beaches as you are swept along with your cast of wacky characters. Further proof that travel can be as simple as opening a book. Back here in Neepawa, story time has begun again on Friday mornings at 11 a.m. Preschool-aged children and their caregivers are welcome for read-aloud stories, rhymes, and crafts. Once again, we welcome our volunteer readers from the Neepawa Rotary who help to bring the stories to life. No registration is required. Looking ahead to spring, we're pleased to announce the rescheduling of Craig Russell, author of The Black Bottle Man and Fragment, for a reading and signing of his books on April 20th at the Neepawa Library. Craig is from Brandon, where he is well known for his work in community and youth stage productions, and we look forward to his visit. His books are available in Neepawa Library. And there is a quote here. There are adventures of the spirit, and one can travel in books and interest oneself in people and affairs. One need never be dull as long as one has friends to help, gardens to enjoy, and books in the long winter evenings. Author D.E. Stevenson, Listening Valley. And last train to Nibrock, stopping in Neepawa. The next performance in this year's Kaleidoscope concert series will be the Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre production of Last Train to Nibrock. The play is set in December of 1940 on an eastbound cross-country train that carries the bodies of the great American writers Nathaniel West and F. Scott Fitzgerald. On board as well is a shy and religious May and a charming young discharged flyer, Raleigh. May is a small-town girl recently disappointed in love. Raleigh has recently been discharged due to a health condition. The two are indeed sharing a train with F. Scott Fitzgerald and Nathaniel West, but the latter are dead and being carried home in baggage. Raleigh dreams of being an author like his idols on board. May is a religious young lady who dreams of marriage and family. This play is a charming love story about two people simply looking for happiness. The Kaleidoscope concert series includes an MTC production every year, and they never disappoint. Do not forget this performance, Neepawa. If you have a season pass, this concert was part of your value pack. If not, you can pay $25 at the door if you're an adult, or $5 if you're a student. Last Train to Nibrock will arrive at the Roxy Theatre in Neepawa on February the 22nd, 2017. And as an aside, the Roxy Theatre this weekend is showing the movie Assassin's Creed. Wealth of Knowledge, the My Perspective column by Kate Jackman Atkinson. Over the last few decades, the internet has burst open the once locked doors of information. As the internet has become an ever-increasing part of our daily lives, so too has its culture of open information. According to Statistics Canada data, in 2000, it was estimated that 13 million Canadians, or about 53% of the population, used the internet at home, at work, or somewhere else in the previous 12 months. By 2012, when Stats Canada conducted the Canadian Internet Survey, 83% of Canadians had internet access in their homes, up from 79% in 2010. Even outside major metropolitan areas, home internet access was reported by 75% of Canadians. As well as the much wider prevalence of internet service, most of it is high speed. 97% of Canadians with internet have a high-speed connection. This widespread access to the internet has brought knowledge and information into people's homes and even their hands. Publishers are no longer deciding what information people will have access to and how it will be disseminated. Today, anyone with a computer can publish their own content, available to anyone with a question and a search engine. This openness hasn't just helped us as individuals or businesses access the information we need to make informed decisions, it has also changed how we think about information. Information used to be expensive. You used to have to buy it in a book, go somewhere to learn it in person from someone, or learn it the hard way by trial and error. Today, vast quantities of that information is now free. Beyond the websites, YouTube, videos, and forums, institutes of formal education have also opened their doors. Now a person can take any number of online courses from Ivy League schools such as MIT, Harvard, or Berkeley on topics ranging from science to philosophy, as well as industry, relevant courses covering topics such as technology, supply chain management, and innovation. You don't get a diploma for that. There is a cost, but the information is there, free to whoever wants to learn. In 2000, most internet users were 15 to 19 years old. As these users have aged, they have brought a culture of open information with them. We grew up immersed in free information, and each subsequent generation has the same expectations. This has had a profound impact on how we view information. Last week, I had 3 conversations about different topics, but with a similar theme: how much more open people are getting about sharing their information. The areas in question were more traditional pursuits, those that aren't a product of the information age, but have existed for centuries. The conversations were all on the same topic: how much harder it used to be, even 5 years ago, to get old-timers to share their information with those new to the industry or activity. Slowly, the culture is changing. As more people who grew up in the internet get involved in jobs, hobbies, and communities, the balance is shifting. In the past, people worried that giving up their secrets would jeopardize their livelihoods, and it probably would have. Today, we recognize that as a risk, but we see the benefits of sharing information. We all get better. With the widespread dissemination of information, we have also learned that it's something beyond the set of particular skills that make a true master exceptionally good, and that isn't lost by sharing knowledge with others. An expert guitar player can teach me how they move their fingers across the strings, but that won't make me an expert, not even close. But it will make me appreciate the skill involved and give me something to work towards. For all we worry about the threats found on a wide-open information highway, we need to recognize the truly amazing gift of knowledge it has given us, a gift that has spread far beyond our screens and into our greater world. And Rita Friesen's column, No Ordinary Man. Reminiscing about our childhood, my sister and I reflected on the role the adults of our community played in our life. We were a close-knit circle, farming families, sharing a common heritage and faith. This conversation triggered deeper memories of a gentleman we simply called Mr. Pete. We would not have dared to address our elders by their first name, and even as we became adults, my sister and I could not drop the respectful title of Mr. or Mrs., not when speaking of or to our parents' friends. It was no coincidence that his name came up. I had been moving objects around in my home and set one very aged picture aside. It looks a little like a watercolor, but then again, it could have been a scene from a calendar. 6 by 8 in a simple wood frame, the dusty red barn sits in a clearing amid scattered trees, a soft mountain way in the background. For years without number, this simple picture adorned Mr. and Mrs. Pete's home. My younger sister purchased it at their auction and gifted it to me. Plain, unadorned, but sturdy and safe. Sums up the owners. Mr. Pete would have described himself as an ordinary man. To me, he was outstanding. A sense of humor, a sense of fair play, and humility. When I had returned to my childhood home, newly divorced and a mother of 2 young children, the community was unsure of how to treat me. I was a groundbreaker in many ways. Their uncertainty certainly fed my uncertainty. One summer evening, Mr. Pete drove into the yard, and when I directed him to where Dad was working, he quietly stated that he had come to see me. Their country church was short a teacher for the summer vacation Bible school week and would appreciate it if I would fill the position. I was astounded and questioned whether he had the backing of the rest of the church. He assured me he had the right to ask. I accepted, and that gentle act was a turning point for me. I treasured the token gift I received in thanks. Whenever possible, I would stop by for a visit with him. One summer day, he was recounting all the garden produce he had processed for his adult children: jams, jellies, pickles, and frozen vegetables. I said he was a good dad, and he replied, "Yes, I am." Recognized his worth, but not boastful. Mr. Pete mastered the art of telling good, clean, funny jokes. His timing was impeccable. What I hold most dear, on the last visit my sister and I had with him, months before his passing, he thanked us for caring and said he loved us. Sounds simple, right? But for a man I truly respected and admired, to articulate his feelings was, to me, extraordinary. Powerful reminder that I can never know that what I see as an ordinary act or words can be life-changing. And we have an interesting letter to the editor from Helen Drysdale, titled "Get a Second Opinion." Health is perhaps the most precious thing we have. We all experience medical issues at some point in our lives. In 2016, my husband Alan died after being diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. He had a variety of symptoms that were indicators of cancer, including unexplainable tiredness. But his doctor dismissed these symptoms and therefore the chance for early detection and treatment. His doctor had tunnel vision and refused to get him the proper diagnostic tests. This made our search for a diagnosis a much more difficult and stressful time than it needed to be. In most towns and cities, we would have had an option to find another doctor for a second opinion. But in Neepawa, due to the medical clinic's policy that does not allow patients to see another doctor, either as a permanent change or as a consultation, my husband was denied this basic service. I have corresponded with the medical center regarding this concern, with little progress in changing the standing policy. The clinic stated dissatisfied patients should communicate with their doctors. This does not take into account the power position a doctor holds over a patient, or the fact that a change of doctor or request for second opinion can still be denied. Should you find yourself in such a situation, I encourage you to go to a city with a walk-in clinic. Doctors are human and can and will make mistakes. As patients of Manitoba Health, we have the right to seek out the necessary diagnosis and treatments to manage our health and well-being, whether in Neepawa or in another center if our needs cannot be met here. We need to know our options and empower ourselves to make the best decisions about our health and the health of those we love. If you have any concerns, phone or write your Minister of Health. and some words to reflect on there. Now, Legion and the Rec Commission score with Chase the Ace. The McCreary Legion Branch number 173, in partnership with the McCreary Recreational Commission, would like to thank everyone who supported our locally run Chase the Ace. It was held at the Legion every Friday night from January 6, 2016, until it was won on December 16, 2016. The funds raised will go a long way in improving the McCreary Legion facility, along with all the capital projects that are ongoing within the McCreary Recreation Commission. In total, 58,486 tickets costing $2 were sold. Total revenue raised by ticket sales was $116,992. Winner Dale Kuzek took home a prize of $58,596. The Legion and the Recreation Commission each collected $23,398.40, and another $11,699.20 was set aside to cover expenses. Based on the success of last year's Chase the Ace, another one started on January 6th. Well, those are excellent amounts of money, that's for sure. And handmade quilts help with hard times. Thank you so very much for this lovely quilt. It will keep me warm inside and out. The kind thoughts of giving and sharing and caring that went into each stitch help make a girl feel valued and whole. Attitude is 80% in healing, and gestures such as yours help me maintain my good attitude. The above sentiment is but one of the many testimonials the local chapter of Victoria's Quilts has received since their inception in 2013. The purpose of Victoria's Quilts is to provide handmade quilts to people with cancer in Canada. By providing these quilts, we hope to bring physical comfort to those dealing with cancer, as well as spiritual comfort in knowing that they are not alone in their struggle. Neepawa is home to the only chapter of Victoria's Quilts in Manitoba. The quilts are sewn by dedicated volunteers. There is never a cost to the requester or the recipients of a quilt, as we raise the funds that are needed to pay for the materials. We have been fortunate enough to receive donations of fabric by caring Manitobans. We also get an incredible deal from Country Lane Quilts in St. Rose on the machine quilting process. Donations have been received from local individuals, and we were given grants, area community foundations, service clubs, and churches. In 2015, we delivered 82 quilts to cancer patients across Manitoba. 2016 saw a 50% increase in the number of quilts delivered. Last year, 121 quilts were delivered to 55 different communities in Manitoba. A major fundraiser for the local branch of Victoria's Quilts is returning on March 17. Last year, we held a stew lunch fundraiser where we served 120 stew lunches. We are hoping to expand to 200 this year. We are thankful, too, for the donations made by local businesses awards making the fundraiser a success. Ron Nordstrom also donated his musical talent. Last year, there were a few businesses who purchased tickets for their staff and made an event out of it. We encourage more businesses to get involved and purchase groups of tickets. What could be more fun than a Friday stew lunch with great Irish music? Get your friends and co-workers together and come out for an awesome Friday lunch. Takeouts and delivery will also be available. Tickets will be available at Arts Forward, It's Time, and Margaret Van Buskert at 204-476-2482. Mark the date, March 17, between 11:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. One man received a quilt in the mail and was very pleased and comforted by it. He phoned to say it matched his recliner chair, which was beige and brown. He has cancer and is healing very well from the surgery. And he said part of that was due to the comfort of the quilt. If you doubt the impact of the gift of a quilt, this is a true testimony of its value. If anyone would like to get involved or make a donation, you may contact Diane Nordstrom at 204-476-2122 or dnord@mymts.net. Information is always available through the website www.victoriasquiltscanada.com, and our local chapter is pleased to speak to groups on request. It's a wonderful thing that they are doing there. Barn collapses at High Life Foods. On Tuesday, January 10, a portion of one of the barns at High Life Foods in Neepawa collapsed due to a combination of wind and snow load. The incident occurred at approximately 11 p.m., and no people or animals were injured. Guy Baudry, Chief Operating Officer, High Life Foods Division, said that the collapse didn't bring the roof structure to the ground, which helped avoid any injury to the livestock housed in the facility. In short order, the condition was assessed and all precautions to secure the area were taken, said Baudry. He added, necessary safety protocols have been developed to either circumvent the affected area or to safely access those parts of the area that contain assets that might be required in the functioning of the operations. The barn was an older structure that the company was planning to upgrade. Baudry said that they plan to replace the building. And NACTV is preparing a showcase of talent. The 2017 NACTV Showcase of Talent will be held on Thursday, March the 9th at the Roxy Theatre from 7 to 10 p.m. We want this to be the biggest and best talent show of all time. We are looking for talent from the Neepawa and surrounding area to come forward. We're looking for the following community choirs, church choirs, choraleers, HMK choir, NACI chorale, family singers, Filipino dancers or performers, fiddlers or dance groups. If you're interested, drop into the NACTV office, which is the former Neepawa Press building, and pick up a registration form and pledge sheet. We need your family and friends to sign your pledge sheets, as this is our major fundraising effort. Years ago, there was a saying, Uncle Sam needs you. Well, ours is NACTV needs you to come forward and support our NACTV. The teledac on the night of the showcase will list all the names of the people that have supported you on your pledge sheet. We're also hoping people will come to the Roxy and cheer on the Showcase of Talent. Thanks so much. An inspiring weekend retreat ahead. Visitors to Western Manitoba have come to recognize our region as one with many great attractions to visit. But organizers of the upcoming Valley Paradise Weekend Retreat want people to know that we aren't just home to great scenery, we're also able to offer activities for an enriched visitor experience. Marley Soltes, the curator of the Inspires Studio of Fine Art, had the idea for a women's weekend retreat here in Minnedosa, which combines art, cuisine, yoga, and an invigorating 3 days that focuses on women's health and wellness. Partnering with Allison Burgess of the Cornerstone Grill, Heidi Ray Yogini Lifestyle, and Kim Burgess from Valley Art Therapy, the quartet has assembled a weekend with plenty of activities to explore your creative side and treat your taste buds. The program is an example of an emerging trend in rural tourism, focusing on the visitor experience instead of the passive approach of simply marketing a destination. Increasingly, travelers are looking for an authentic experience that allows them to try their hand at a local custom and discover talents that they didn't know they had. This new approach to visitation not only invites new people to the region, but also sends them home with a souvenir that they have created themselves. Eastman Tourism offers a slate of 4 programs of a similar nature. One, called Jammin' in the Heartland, invites guests for a weekend to pick berries in Grunthal in the morning and then turn your yield into jam in the afternoon that you can take home or enjoy on the site. Other sessions include snowmobiling adventures, a paddling safari, and a forest excursion through Birds Hill Park. Given our geography in Minnedosa, Salties feels that there is a lot of potential to develop a similar package of activities for those that are interested to fully experience what the Valley has to offer. For the Valley Paradise Retreat, the weekend begins on Friday evening, January 27, with a wine and cheese reception at the Inspire Studio, which will include a music appreciation sound circle. Saturday begins with a morning yoga session with Heidi Ray, followed by a group art therapy session led by Kim Burgess. The afternoon includes an art class sponsored by Inspire Studio, and the evening begins in the kitchen as Cornerstone Grill chef Allison Burgess leads the group in the creation of artisanal pizzas for supper. Sunday morning, January 29, will include more activities hosted at the Inspire Studio, with breakfast wraps and mimosas for all patrons. There will also be some open time throughout the weekend for patrons looking to engage in some retail therapy in downtown Minnedosa. What we really want is for ladies to allow themselves the gift of time, said Salties. Come for the weekend and just let yourself be creative and explore new talents. For more information or to register for the January 27th to the 29th event, interested attendees can contact Marlies at 204-210-1993 or by email at inspirestudiooffineart@gmail.com. It'd be a nice weekend, actually. And I think the big news in the area is the Westman Leadership Group is in the early stages of strategically assessing the potential opportunity associated with attracting a soybean crushing facility to southwest Manitoba. The leadership group is comprised of volunteers from regional business, farm, and civic leaders. In 2016, over 1.7 million acres of soybeans were planted in Manitoba, with huge increase taking place in western Manitoba. In 2011, soybeans accounted for only about 5% of the planted acreage. Today, it's widespread and growing, stated Ray Redfern, chair of the Westman Leadership Group. The regional benefits and economic synergies are huge. Soy meal is an important component of most hog rations, and the region produces lots of hogs for the Maple Leaf and High Life facilities, with more growth anticipated. Today, we import significant amounts of soybean meal, said Redfern. A local plant could reduce feed ration costs and provide a significant boost to the local hog industry. This is an added benefit to the anticipated financial gains the farmers would receive from having a local market for their soybeans. Building on the findings of the Manitoba Soybean Crush Feasibility Study, commissioned by Soy 2020, the Westman Leadership Group, in partnership with the Brandon Economic Development Corporation, engaged the services of ECDev Solutions to conduct preliminary project work. The preliminary work underway has been aimed at establishing project leadership, building a detailed work plan centered around a strategic approach to assessing and, if applicable, pursuing the identified potential opportunity, along with identifying funding sources for these efforts. Funding for the preliminary work, which is slated for completion by January 31st, was provided by the Brandon Economic Development Corporation, with project oversight being provided by the Westman Leadership Group. Ongoing small group discussions related to the possibility of a soybean crushing facility being built in Canada were occurring with increasing frequency across many communities in southwest Manitoba, prompting members of the Westman Leadership Group to undertake exploratory work in an effort to kickstart a regional approach to investigating the potential soybean opportunity, said Redfern. He added, "We recognized the work required to fully explore the potential opportunity was extensive and best undertaken in a strategic manner with the collective knowledge and energy of many." In mid-November, provincial, regional, and civic stakeholders met to share information, define collective interests, and establish work plan priorities. During the rest of the week of December 14 to 16, the Westman Leadership Group held a series of meetings to discuss the project with regional groups. On December 14, we met with community and RM leaders to discuss the opportunity, stated Redfern. There was solid support for the initiative from representatives throughout the region. The Economic Development Brandon office is pleased to have hosted both information meetings and to continue to support efforts to assess the potential opportunity for Westman, given its alignment with the region's agricultural strengths, ongoing effort to increase value-added processing in Manitoba, and the critical role agriculture plays in sustaining a strong regional economy, indicated Sandy Trudell, Brandon's Director of Economic Development. Next steps in exploring the potential of attracting a soybean crushing facility to southwest Manitoba will be determined once the preliminary work underway is completed and reviewed by the Westman Leadership Group. And just to finish off this little back page here, addresses are to be removed from registration cards. This is from the Manitoba Public Insurance. In the interest of protecting the privacy and security of Manitobans, Manitoba Public Insurance will be implementing a system change to remove the printing of registered owner addresses on non-commercial vehicle registration cards, Crown Services Minister Ron Schuler announced today. Vehicle registration cards are often left inside the vehicle, which makes them susceptible to being taken should the vehicle be broken into. Removal of the registered owner address will ensure the privacy, confidentiality, and security of registered vehicle owners is maintained in these cases, said Schuler. This change, which is supported by the Manitoba Association of Chiefs of Police, will be introduced starting with renewals and new vehicle registrations effective March the 1st, 2017 and later. Customers wishing to obtain a new vehicle registration card immediately without physical address can do so at any Autopack agent for a $15 vehicle registration card replacement fee. And that's an interesting, it'll be very, very interesting in that one. And community kids receive support. On Friday, January 13, the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation presented a pair of community fund grants from 2016. On the top photo, Beautiful Plains Community Foundation President Jane Gowdy presented the Neepawa Nursery School with a $1,000 grant for shelving in their building, which is located on Davidson Street. And just above this article, Early Learning Neepawa received an $8,000 grant to help cover planning costs for the establishment of new daycare center at the former Access to Books location on Mountain Avenue. And from left is the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation President Jane Gowdy, Neepawa Early Learning Board President Stephen Strelzik, and Beautiful Plains Community Foundation Board member Ginny Collins. Sure, we're getting through here. Neepawa natives continue to collect important points. Neepawa natives captain Reagan Buchanan tracks down the puck as a Dauphin Kings player presses him on the play. Buchanan scored a pair of goals in Neepawa's 3-0 victory on Friday, January the 13th. And from the sports page, I'm just going to go to the obituaries, and then we'll come back to the sports. Charles Zapshala. Charles Zapshala of McCreary passed away on Saturday, January 14, 2016, at the McCreary Alonza Personal Care Home at the age of 88 years. Charles was born in Goodeve, Saskatchewan on March 13, 1928. Charles worked for Canada Post in Toronto, Ontario for 25 years and retired to McCreary in 1997. He was predeceased by his wife Anne in 1995. His parents, his brothers, John, Tom, Stanley, and Philip, and his sisters, Lucy, Nellie, and Anne. Charles leaves to mourn his passing and cherish many fond memories, his sisters, Bernice, Marjorie, and Phyllis, his brothers, Sidney, Lawrence, and Carl, as well as many nieces, nephews, and cousins. In accordance with Charles' wishes, cremation has taken place, and a memorial service will be held in the summer of 2017. Should friends so desire, donations may be made in memory of Charles to a charity of one's choice. James Gordon Lang. It is with great sadness that we announce the peaceful passing of James Gordon Lang, with family by his side, on December 26, 2016, at the age of 87. Gordon was born on March 14, 1929, on the homestead at Burnie, Manitoba. He grew up and attended school in the Burnie district. On August 11, 1951, he married Gay Babcock of Burnie, Manitoba. Gordon farmed with his dad and eventually took over the family farm. Gordon loved sports, baseball and curling being his favorites. A memorable occasion for Dad was going through the Neepawa men's open bonspiel undefeated. Another proud moment for Dad and his family was when Dad was chosen to throw the ceremonial rock at the Safeway Championship in 2002 in Neepawa. He was also proud to be inducted into the Hall of Fame as a member of the Eden men's baseball team. He remained active in curling until the age of 80. Gordon and Gay loved to camp and enjoyed several trips in Canada and the United States. Gordon was predeceased by his parents George and Jane Stinson Lang, in-laws Fred and Coral Elliott Babcock, brother-in-law Dean Babcock, sister-in-law Dorothy Babcock, and brother-in-law Hugh Ferguson. He is remembered by his wife Gay, married 65 years. Children Lorna, Larry Baranyuk, Arlene, Bob Henderson, Jim, Lori, Glenn, Deanna, Dwayne, Lisa, 14 grandchildren and 10 great-grandchildren. Sister Myrtle Ferguson, brother Lloyd, Evelyn, as well as many nieces and nephews. A family graveside service will be held at a later date, and in lieu of flowers, donations may be made to a charity of your choice. Jean Agnes Nelson. Jean Agnes Nelson passed away peacefully with family by her side at Country Meadows Personal Care Home on January the 2nd, 2017. Jean was born on March 26, 1925, to parents Lena and Joe Montgomery. Jean had 3 sisters, Phyllis, June, and Lila. The family originally settled in Minnedosa and later moved to Arden. The girls were very close and loved socializing and playing baseball together. Jean became a teacher, a job she enjoyed very much. She taught at Keys, Inkerman, and Arden schools. She often bragged she could remember all the names of the students from her very first classroom. Jean met Harvey Nelson while teaching in Arden, and they married on October 14, 1950. They were blessed with 5 sons: Jack, Don, Bill, Wayne, and Randy. Harvey and Jean farmed in the Mentmore area for many years and retired to Neepawa in 1980. Jean loved spending time with her husband. They enjoyed curling, dancing, bowling, playing cards, traveled to Europe together, and were a part of the Elks and Royal Purple for many years. They were the caretakers of Lake Irwin Campground for several years and enjoyed spending time with their guests. They also opened their home to exchange students from around the world and to local billets from the Neepawa Natives hockey team. The one activity Jean and Harvey enjoyed the most was watching their boys play sports, perform in plays, and have families of their own. Jean supported her boys through everything and taught them many skills: how to play baseball, how to drive a vehicle, and how to change a flat tire. Jean was a very hard-working woman, ensuring the farm ran smoothly. She taught her sons the value of being a hard worker, and whenever the boys needed advice, they could always confide in their mom. She was the voice of reason and always told her boys to never give up. Jean was a very proud mother and enjoyed seeing her sons grow up and become dads. Jean's grandchildren remember their grandma as a jolly lady who resembled the Queen of England and offered them ice cream the moment they walked in the door. She would always welcome them with a big smile and would call all of them dearie. She loved doing crafts with her grandchildren and making them their favorite treats. In Jean's last 6 years, spent at Country Meadows Personal Care Home, her grandchildren noticed she had a newfound love for having her nails painted. She always chose the color red, her favorite color. While living in the care home, Jean became a competitive bingo player, always wearing her lucky necklace and had a lucky bingo chip in her shoe. She enjoyed the company of the other residents, loved the outings, and was often the first lady in line for the bus. It was comforting for all of Jean's family to see her enjoying her golden years. Jean had many talents. She was a competitive card player, had the most beautiful penmanship, and she could make a hearty breakfast for her entire family before the sun rose. Her best attribute was her strength. Jean endured heartbreaking loss and hard times throughout her years, but never complained and took everything in stride with a smile on her face. She had a heart of gold and always voiced her opinion. She brought a lot of joy to everyone she met, and her infectious smile will be missed by all. Jean is predeceased by her beloved husband Harvey and sons Jack and Randy, as well as sisters Phyllis and June. She will be missed by son Don, Kathy, granddaughter Lisa, Kevin, son Bill, Debbie, and granddaughters Ashley, Jesse, Dana, Justin, son Wayne, Joanne, granddaughters Kristen, Cam, Carla, Brad, daughter-in-law Betty, and grandchildren Pam, Charles, and Matthew. Great-grandchildren Gavin, Abby, Mia, Thomas, Novalee, and Hannah, as well as her sister Lila Howe, Ron, brother-in-law Merv Drayson, and sister-in-law Bernice Nelson. A graveside funeral service was held on January the 5th, 2017, at the Riverside Cemetery in Neepawa, with Rita Friesen officiating. A memorial luncheon was held in the CEC United Church following the service. And those are the obituaries. And back to our sports. We will just kind of do a little summary of some of them here. The Tiger Hills Hockey League recap. The Neepawa Farmers picked up their 9th straight win on Saturday, January 14, with a 4-1 win over the Souris Elks. Kyle McDonald, Nolan Spieth, Lance Nugent, and Jarrett Rempel all scored for Neepawa in the win. The game against Sewers came on the heels of an important victory over a divisional rival, the Gladstone Lakers, on Wednesday, January 11th. These wins catapulted Neepawa into first place in the THHL Eastern Division with 11-4-0 record. With just 3 games remaining in the regular season, Neepawa has a 2-point lead over the Minnedosa Bombers. While the Bombers do have a game in hand, the Farmers have won the season series, ensuring control of the tiebreaker in the standings. And in other games, Minnedosa crushed Pilot Mound with 11-1. Gladstone won in overtime over the Melita Bisons, and Carberry lost to the Boys of Ain Border Kings 6-4. And the NACI Tiger girls basketball game finished third in their weekend tournament. They hosted a tournament January 13th to the 14th. 8 teams from across the province competed in the event. The Tigers opened up the event with a hard-fought 58-44 win over the Verdun Bears. Naomi Plett led the way in the opening game with 14 points for NACI. Kaylin Rowe followed close behind with 13 points. In the semifinal showdown, Neepawa challenged the Boys of Ain Broncos. Despite putting in a solid team effort, the Tigers were simply unable to overcome one of Manitoba's stronger varsity girls' teams, falling 86-43. Joanne Plaza had 14 points for NACI in the loss. With this defeat, Neepawa shifted into the bronze medal game versus the Neeland Spartans. Kaylin Rowe had a strong on-court effort, accumulating 13 points and pushing Neepawa to the 52-47 victory. As for the gold medal game, College Louis Riel outpaced Boys of Ain 51-30. We have a thank you to billets. The Neepawa natives hosted a billet appreciation dinner on Friday, January 13, after their 3-0 win over the Dauphin Kings. The dinner was a thank you to the families who provide support for the team by opening up their homes to the players. And the Neepawa Natives cash draw is underway. It's an annual cash lottery. Neepawa Natives team president Ken Waddell said this is one of the Junior A Club's most important fundraising events of the year. And they're pleased to announce that the 2017 Neepawa Natives $25,000 cash lottery has been launched. This is an annual fundraiser for the team, and last year was spectacular. They sold out all the $100 tickets and the 3 for $25 tickets. The 50-50 was over $9,000, and that pot may grow even bigger this year, stated Waddell. The draw will be held at the year-end banquet, which is scheduled for March the 4th at Neepawa's Yellowhead Center. Waddell noted that they're hopeful they'll be able to match last year's success. They're hoping for a good crowd again this year. Last year the banquet sold out, and the enthusiasm of the crowd was very exciting. Only 800 tickets will be sold. They are $100 each, or 3 for $250. Only 103 packs are available. Draws 1 to 10 will receive prizes of $500. Draws 11 to 15 will receive $1,000, while draw 16 will be the grand prize of $15,000. Tickets are available at Team Electronics, Harris Pharmacy, the Neepawa Banner, and the Neepawa Home Hardware. Tickets are also available at Neepawa Natives home games and from board members. You can order your tickets by calling 1-800-260-0810. And some of the really great bowling scores: ladies high single, Barb Grumpelt at 215. Ladies high triple, Pauline Hailstone at 557. Men's high single and triple, Len Pritchard, 242 and 637. Touchwood Park bowling, ladies high single and double, Sharon Padfield, 166 and 262. Men's high single and double, Peter Wickstead, 178 and 320. Those are all very good scores. Neepawa Ladies Bonspiel and the other ones are still in here, and hopefully we'll get to a little bit more of the sports next week, but we're running out of time. Thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to see you next week when we read the next edition of the Neepawa Banner. Thank you. Have a good day.